I have my guest in the studio today, and the Deputy Minister of Communications, George Anda, is here. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay.
How are you doing, my brother?
I'm good, sir.
Good morning to your viewers as well.
Thank you very much, too. And I'm sure we're all most grateful. He's also the Member of Parliament for Ewutu Senior West. And, you know, combining work as an MP, a minister, all not too difficult task for him. That is, if you are dedicated to it, and I believe that he is as well. But let's straight away start with the discussions. And we know, before we start the mainstream discussion, the president currently is having, I think, a second round of tour of the West African countries, and was in Cape Verde over the weekend. And we've had a number of great discussions so far between the president and the presidents of the host countries that he's been to. What would you say are some of the key highlights, and notably some of the key speaking points we can?
Well, I think it's basically a meet and greet. The president has said that he wants Ghana to become the most business-friendly and the most people-friendly economy on the continent. And he's reached out to several countries, basically talking about his policies, talking about the fact that our doors are open for doing business, trying to bring in investors. And I think that it's in the right direction. The president obviously was a foreign minister in his previous life, and he understands the import of having good relations with your neighbors. And I guess that's basically what he's doing. He's spoken about Galamsey. He's spoken about the economy that is making a turnaround. He's spoken about the focus on agriculture. He's spoken on a number of key policies that are basically going to drive the turnaround in the economy. And I think that everywhere that he has gone, he's being so well received. And it's an expression of the goodwill that Ghana seems to be enjoying under His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So I think so far so good.
And Cape Verde was speaking about providing alternative livelihoods for those who have been evicted from those Galamsey sites.
Yeah, that's why I said that he's spoken about Galamsey. And listen, I mean, it's obvious that there's a concern that some people are earning some kind of livelihood from their involvement in the illegal mining. And if we are saying that we want to legalize it and people should go through the proper process, some feel like those that may not be able to go through the proper process would end up not being employed. But there are a lot of things that are being put in place to make sure that we can mop up all these people and even sort of provide extra jobs from the reclamation programs that are going to be put in place to the licensed prospectors and miners or mining companies doing their work formally. And so it's in the right direction. Yeah. I mean, yesterday I was having a discussion with someone, and he was talking about greenhouse agriculture, where you don't necessarily need good quality soil, but it's the whole greenhouse effect. And I think that will be a great program to implement in the areas where Galamsey has taken place and the land is being reclaimed, because then even if the quality of soil has been destroyed, you can use the greenhouse program to grow whatever it is that you want to grow, and it will meet the export standards. So that could be a way to employ people, generate foreign exchange, and I thought that was a great idea that the person brought up.
At the end of the day also, we know that some of these communities have suffered immensely from these activities of Galamsey, and the commitment of the minister and the government as a whole on the other side also puts those communities at a certain advantage of making sure that their lands and their environments are put back in shape. If that is the focus, then also we also need to bring in the chiefs who at some point in the argument we say somehow also involved in the activities in terms of whether they condone or don't.
Well, I think the Minister of Lands and Forestry has been clear on what he wants to do. You realize that he's been engaging with stakeholders, and the stakeholders include the community leaders, it includes the youth, it includes the district assemblies. The fight against Galamsey cannot be done by one person. It cannot be done by the executive alone. Every leader within the community must understand why Galamsey is not good for us and why we need to fight it with every drop of blood that we have in us. That said, the most important thing is that those that want to get involved with mining from the local content point of view must go through the right process and get the EPA approval, get the Minerals Commission approval, then come to Parliament for Parliament to rectify their licenses. In that way, then there's a full program that's going to put in place in terms of who you're employing, in terms of safety standards, in terms of making sure that the environment is protected, making sure that after you have finished prospecting or finished mining the gold, there's a proper process or a proper program that is going to put in place to make sure that the environment is not left worse off than worse off from the activities that you participated in. And these, I mean, it's quite clear that these things must be done. And of course, the minister cannot be everywhere at the same time. His deputies cannot be everywhere at the same time. And that is why the ownership should go back to the community. I mean, the community should understand that water is something that you cannot play with. I mean, if 10 years from now we are going to be importing water, if 5 years from now we're going to be hit with all kinds of diseases because of illegal chemicals that people are being exposed to, if 5 years from now or 10 years from now our children are going to be worse off in school because they didn't attend school because they were working in the pits, ultimately the country is going to be the biggest loser. And these are the things that we need to put a stop to. And it's interesting that as far as the fight against Galamsey is concerned, it's a bipartisan approach. I mean, I haven't heard anybody from the minority that is against what the Honourable Minister and the Executive are doing as far as the fight against Galamsey is concerned. And I must commend the commitment of the Executive to make sure that we're doing things right for country.
On the front page of the Ghanaian Times, for example, the minister is captured as saying that government in the interim won't lift the ban on small-scale mining. He'd been interacting with a group called the Small Scale Miners Association in Kumasi just prior to the weekend. They were cladded in all forms of red attires and armbands, etc., showing their disapproval or perhaps protesting the way the whole activity has been undertaken by the ministry in a certain sense. At the end of the day, it seems that cool heads need to prevail at some point.
What I didn't hear you right. Did you say the headline says the government will lift or the government will not?
Won't lift in interim, yes. Of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's the illegal aspect of small scale mining that is being tackled, is being sanitized. I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, even the legal route doesn't seem to have been fully adhered to. And so most of those that are supposed to be doing things legally have not got the proper documentation, and so they tend to fall under the regime of the illegal sanitization program that is taking place. So yes, I mean, I think that Ghanaians would all admire the commitment and the consistency with which the minister and his team are tackling this program. And like I said, the stakeholder engagement is one key aspect of the program that is executing, and this is testimony to the fact that no matter what activity you are doing, you need to involve the stakeholders. So those that don't understand what you are doing sort of buy into what you're doing, and then they can support the program. And I guess that with the program that he's following, he's just going to be happy days going forward.
And
I mean, obviously, he's demonstrated that he's not going to be intimidated. I mean, we're doing what is good for Ghana. We are not looking at a few individuals and trying to please them. So there are laws that must be obeyed. The ministry has put in place a program to make sure that they sanitize this activity that is a menace in the country. and they're committed to doing that.
You don't think that these activities would make the new Patriotic Party, its government, also unpopular? The government of the Republic of Ghana?
Roland, I'm sure that you've heard His Excellency the President say that he's doing what is right for country. I'm sure that for every one person that is complaining about what the government is doing to sanitize the system, there are 1,000 Ghanaians that are happy with what the government is doing. So we're doing what is right. We're committed to doing what is right. And if whether there are threats of losing an election or not, His Excellency has demonstrated that that is not what his focus is. His focus is doing what is right for the environment, for our future, and the country, and that is what he's driving.
Well, we'll get some positive feedback out of this, because once the commitment is there, it means that it will bode well for all the things that need to be undertaken in the sector.
Indeed.
There's been the issue for which we even had the finance minister apologizing for, the removal of so-called ghost names on government payroll. And ultimately, according to the latest news report we have about 17,000 unregistered workers on government payroll who have since not received their salaries or have not been paid. It's an exercise that the finance minister has apologized for. That is for those who have been affected wrongly. And we still have a chunk, thousands of people who still seem to find themselves in some doldrums. They're not ghosts, apparently.
Well, I'm happy that you have actually said that the finance ministry has apologized for this inconvenience, and indeed, it's not a nice experience not to be able to have your salary for the period that you have worked. That said, we have a challenge, and we need to bite the bullet. I think the Minister of Finance used an analogy that where you have a crate of eggs and there are a few bad eggs, you need to be careful in identifying those eggs that are bad, and that is the meticulous process that the ministry is going through. I'm sure that you recall that there were a number of guidelines, there were a number of prompts that were giving that people should go through the biometric registration. I'm not saying that all those that have been affected are people that did not go through the biometric registration, but we are working with systems and processes, and they may not be 100% accurate. The most important thing is that the minister himself has apologized, and he has given a commitment that those that have been affected and are not supposed to be affected, they are doing everything possible to make sure that they can run their payrolls with the next payroll that will be run at the end of the month. So yes, it's not a great experience. Nobody should be happy about this, but it's a bitter pill to take to sanitize the whole system. The amount of government revenue that is being spent on public sector payroll is very significant, and we need to have funding for infrastructure. We need to have funding for the National Health Insurance Scheme. We need to have funding for the numerous brilliant projects that His Excellency the President has put in place. And so we need to make sure that whatever leakages that they are there, we plug. But that said, whilst we are raising the issue about the few that have been negatively impacted, we should also look at the flip side and look at the number of names that were actually ghosts that was the channel of bleeding, and I think that is the positive side of the project. So whilst we are talking about the downsides, we should also flag the positive sides, which is indeed good for Ghana. We're saving the economy a significant amount of money on a monthly basis, and that is why the ministry is so keen to make sure that we can get this over and done with, and then we can move on.
Consistently, you read literature over the years, and government and its expenditure and its finances is always plagued with the subject of ghost names. Why do we have this recurring each year when we know that, of course, there will be people who will be out of a certain payroll or out of work from a public sector? There will be people who come in at the same time. Consistently, we seem to be having these problems.
I don't know the best answer to give to you, but obviously if you have a few people in the system that are not putting country first and are looking at their own personal interests, and they want to manipulate the system to be beneficiaries themselves, then you have this kind of situation taking place. But that said, you realize that this time round, there's been a firm commitment from the Ministry of Finance. They're biting the bullet. They're doing what is right. They're sanitizing the payroll, and obviously with the steps that have been put in place, making sure that there's biometric registration, it's going to be extremely difficult for people to come and dilute the progress that would have been gained or would have been chalked once the system is sanitized. So yes, we're going through probably the last phase of making sure that those individuals that are not committed to Ghana, those individuals that want to exploit the system, and those individuals that want to be selfishly benefiting from gaps in the system are not going to have that opportunity going forward.
I mean, going through this exercise of biometrically registering public sector workers and making sure we did some reconciliation or verification, perhaps we could have been a lot more forthright than we were, and then not go publicly and go announce that perhaps this amount of money, millions of Ghana cedis, had been raked in or prevented from going out of government coffers as a result of all that. Some negligence there, wouldn't you say?
Roland, I mean, if you look at the percentage of people that have been adversely affected negatively because their names were in the pool wrongly, versus those that have genuinely been cleaned, I mean, we need to be a bit fair. We need to commend the ministry. I mean, it's probably for issues like this that some administrations have been reluctant to take the bull by the horns. But yes, the Minister of Finance and his team have done it. There have been a few names in the wrong bucket. They have apologized. They made a commitment to make sure that they'll fix it with the next round of the payroll, and I think that should suffice. I mean, like I've said, everyone is empathizing with our brothers and sisters that have been adversely affected. I have a few people in my constituency that claim that they have not received their payroll, and so everybody is empathizing with them, and hopefully in the next couple of days, this issue will be a thing of the past.
You empathize with them?
Of course, everybody who understands the system, everybody who understands that people should be paid for the work that they have done should empathize with them. I'm not sure, even the Minister of Finance and his deputies would empathize with those that have been adversely affected.
Well, we'll see how that goes. There's a leading member of the pressure group called Occupy Ghana, Kisley Hayford. Do you know him?
Yes, I know Sydney.
Okay. Oh, Sydney. Okay. So Sydney is condemning what he described as politically motivated transfer of the director of the Ridge Hospital, Dr. Thomas Anaba. It's been ongoing for the last, I believe, 72 hours, or prior to the close or the beginning of the weekend. And apparently this gentleman was the CEO of the Ridge Hospital. That's now is the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, we're told now. And alongside was another appointment. He's been reposted to somewhere in the northern region. And he feels that he's not being dealt with adequately.
Well, I believe.
I don't know whether you've been following the issue.
Well, I mean, I've heard. I mean, and I believe that the doctor who has been affected has been. He says he's going to court, and the ministry have responded that they would go with that case and they would make representation as and when they are called to do so. I would tend to disagree with Sydney when he says that this is a politically motivated removal or transfer, because in every public sector, these transfers are things that happen. I am sure that the ministry have followed due process, the way that the ministry is confident that what they have done is right. I don't know the full details of this issue, but I'm sure that you are aware that in the ministries, transfer is one of the ways that they used to build capacity. They used to share knowledge, and no one person can decide that I will be here and I will not move. And I'm saying this with the premise that I believe that due process has been followed. And indeed, I haven't heard anything from anybody from the ministry publicly that is saying that this is a politically motivated transfer. I mean, the entire ministry machinery seems to be supportive of the direction that has been given. Indeed, there were some rumors that even the delay in reopening the hospital was because of this issue, and I believe that I heard on news that some of the hospital staff themselves have said that no, this has nothing to do with it, and they were just sorting out some internal processes, making sure their systems and processes are running right to make sure that the hospital can deliver a great experience to visitors that come there to seek medical attention.
Well, with those preliminary comments on the subject, now let's apprise ourselves on the story. We have the latest.
Naba, however, says the protests were instigated by Dr. Emmanuel Sofenyo, who he says was also interested in the job.
It was from Dr. Sofenyo and a few staff.
You have evidence for
Oh, yeah, no. Oh, he petitioned the president. He petitioned the then president. Or you are not aware of that?
So you think that is he part of this?
He has been appointed now. He has been appointed now.
To sit in your stead?
To sit in my place.
1.5 years into his tenure, Dr. Anaba is being asked to make way for Dr. Emmanuel Sofenyo. He, however, says the health minister who issued the directive has no such power to determine who heads which health facility.
It is illegal. It's power drunk. It's unfair. It is humiliating. Because the letter doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
Exactly?
Because you can't just tell somebody you are restructuring the hospital. He may be competent somewhere, but he himself said it that he's not very good in health. He knows nothing about health.
So how exactly would you want this to be done?
Rescind his decision.
Why?
Because it's not correct.
So until that you're not moving and
why should I move? Why should I obey an illegal, flooded administrative letter?
One other reason Dr. Anaba says has been cited for his removal is that the contractors have questioned his competence to manage the brand new hospital.
The sad thing is that the minister is relying on Bouygues, that the Bouygues company indicated that I'm not competent to manage the place, so he should remove me.
Dr. Anaba says he has already instructed his lawyers to ensure the health minister withdraws his directive and an apology issued for what he says are lapses.
Why? But we have written a letter to them to respond. Yeah.
From your lawyers?
Yes.
What exactly do you want from them?
To reverse his decision.
So that you stay on?
Yes.
Or which of them? So that you stay on?
So I stay on.
Or to go to UDS?
He should reverse the decision and apologize that he erred to Ghanaian people.
Meanwhile, Dr. Sofenyo, who until his appointment as medical director was head of clinical services, is waiting to take up his new post, meaning that until Dr. Anaba backs down or Dr. Sofenyo is reassigned, the Greater Accra Regional Hospital will have two rival medical directors. For Joy News, my name is Hannah Odame.
And Hannah Odame, bringing us a reaction from Dr. Anaba. It seems to be almost some level of back and forth between Dr. Anaba and then the Ministry of Health, the Minister of Health, etc. It's as if government just wants to take the man out by hook or crook.
Well, Roland, like I said in the earlier submission, transferring public sector workers, it's normal practice. It's a positive thing. It's about knowledge sharing. It's about building competence. It's about gaining broader experience. And I believe that if you follow the background to this case, there have been situations. He himself have said that a number of people have protested about his competence and his inability to manage the new hospital. I'm not saying that is the reason why, but I just heard him saying that. So, and I've also read on different fora that the workers themselves have on a number of occasions petitioned. He's also said that the workers had petitioned the previous president or the previous administration that he wasn't, they didn't think that he was competent enough to steer the affairs of the hospital. So clearly, I mean, the Ministry of Health must have acted from an informed position, and again, the emphasis is that he has not been sacked. Okay, he's being transferred. If he's resisting the transfer, I wonder who he thinks should go and man the other hospitals or go and manage the other hospital that he's being transferred to. I mean, nobody is bigger than anyone. If he thinks that it's his God-given right to manage the Rich Hospital, then let us listen to what the courts are going to say. But for now, I would stick to the position of the ministry, and I believe that is informed by due process being followed.
It's not because you're a member of government. It's logical.
That what?
That you stick to the position. Because a member of Occupy Ghana, Sidney Casey Hayford, says that...
for the records, Sidney was talking in his capacity as Sidney Casey Hayford, not in capacity as a member of Occupy Ghana. So you should draw that distinction.
Okay.
Yeah.
In his capacity as Sidney Casey Hayford.
Yes.
He says. I think that anybody appointed or somebody appointed by the NDC government and removed because he's appointed by the NDC government, whether he's competent or wrong, but not through the right processes, is wrong.
Sorry, I don't understand. Read it again.
It says somebody appointed by the NDC government and is removed the way he's removed is wrong.
Where was the breach of due process? This doctor was appointed in 2016. He's running a contract. Every contract has a portion, okay, that you can use to seek redress or you can use to transfer.
You mean a termination clause or something?
But this is not a termination.
Yes,
you understand? This is not a termination. So I don't see Sidney's point when he says that a person is removed and it's a political issue. I don't see that at all. He himself had said that the petition was actually sent during the time of the previous administration. If the ministry feels in its wisdom that the hospital is now operational and they feel his services would be more beneficial elsewhere, and the ministry transfers him, I don't see what is wrong with that, sir.
Well, we have to speak to the public relations boss of the Ministry of Health. Mr. Robert Kujo is on the line. Very good morning to you.
Hello?
Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
So, Dr. Naba is not too happy that the decision by the ministry is taking him out of his current position as the CEO for the hospital at Rich. And what's the ministry's own position on the steps that he wants to take next?
The position of what?
The ministry's position on
what?
On his concerns about the way he has been reposted.
Well, the position is this, that he's been transferred to UDS. So he's supposed to report to duty. And what will be his status there? Will he be accorded the same emolument and the packages as he's enjoying as the CEO for the Rich Hospital? This is one thing I don't get it, because each institution has its own structures and its payment plan and all that. So, well, whatever facilities that are available at UDS, that is what you'll be entitled to. If it's entitled to maybe a bungalow or something, it should be provided with that. Whatever entitlement that he's supposed to enjoy, looking at his qualification, then nobody should deny him that. He thinks this is politically motivated because he was appointed by the NDC government, so to speak, or in the era of the NDC government. Well, I don't think you can bring the issue of politics here, because a lot of people have been transferred over the period. So it's only one of those who have been relieved of their post. And in this case, it's not been dismissed Nothing has been taken away from him as a doctor. He's only been asked to go back to UDS. You know, when he was there, he established a department, anesthesia, and he was the key tutor. Probably the services are needed again to just strengthen the faculty that he established. So I think it's one of the normal public service administrative processes which he's gone through. So, well, I've been speaking a lot about this, and I'm urging him to just he has the potential as a young man. I mean, the future is ahead of him. He should just put himself together and then carry on with life.
Very interesting. Please, were you at the ministry when he was appointed as the CEO of the region?
No, I wasn't there.
Okay. But then what do you think of the phenomenon of current transfers of left, right, center of various members of the public service? We have a new government in place, the MPP government.
This is not a question that we should even ask. This is normal since in commerce time. Even you follow American politics. It's the same everywhere. Even in the Bible, that's how it is.
Please don't.
They are normal. They are part of public service work, and we've all gone through. It's about a month and 2 weeks, or less a month and 3 weeks. I was the head of PR at Control Canada General Department. And I came that I should be transferred to Minister of Health. What do I do? I couldn't afford anybody. Well, after all, I'm an employee who has been employed by an employer. And you have to obey the instruction of the employer. So you go to the Minister of Information. All the PRs have been transferred, all of them.
And
whether it's political or whatever, I can't explain. But I think it's normal public service administrative work.
You say it's normal what, sir?
Public service administrative
work.
Okay. And so now we seem to have two CEOs. Is that what we get, at least from where I stand?
No, we can't have two CEOs.
Then what do we have now?
One is recognized, another one is not recognized. Our land is going to court until he's taking the matter to court. And he's been successful. He's not recognized as the CEO of this hospital because somebody has been appointed to replace him. So I don't think we have seen any hospital that has two CEOs or two medical directors.
Because that's even more baffling. Having a CEO and another one appointed at the same time creates some level of chaos and
we don't have another CEO. A letter has been issued to him, transferring him to another facility. So I will speak to you by the letter that has been issued to him. We don't have two CEOs. We have only one.
Now he's still occupying the office. So what will you do to him? You're going to evict him straight away?
We're going to evict him. Well, who's going to evict him? Psychologically, if you'll be happy being in his office, I'm going to work every day. Well, that is left to his own judgment because I believe psychologically he wouldn't even function well. You go to the office, nobody comes to you. They hold meetings, you are not called. Nobody brings you anything. At that time, you are not involved in any discussion. How can you function as a normal human being? Not possible. That is why I've been advising him to. He has the potential as a young man. He just let this go behind him and then he should carry on with his life. All the years are before him. If he has a longer lifespan, I think whatever he needs in life, we'll give it to him. Because we all go through one problem or another. And this world, you can't have all your life being pluses. There will definitely be a time where there will be minuses. That is where you have to be bold and then cope with the situation.
So you're saying this is just one of the bad patches he should experience in life and so needs to move on?
Exactly so. He should just move on. It's just that he wouldn't need anything.
Why would the ministry deliberately decide to make somebody who has been appointed just 1.5 years ago go through a bad patch in life?
Now, you mean all those who were or have been appointed in Ghana? I mean, just finished their term of office? No. There are several instances, hundreds of them in Ghana that we can refer to. So I don't think this is a special case or unique issue. It's the normal, that's why I keep saying that it's the normal public service administrative work. So we have been transferred here and there, and it's normal. Go to America, it's happening everywhere, all over.
Throughout the last week, we've heard that the ministry is using these sort of transfers to move people who have been appointed in the previous administration from one office to the other. Is it also deliberate or just normal practice?
Please, it's all about transfer, okay? I can't speak for whatever the government is doing with regards to the policy of transfer, whatever, but it's normal thing. So it's normal thing in government. Even in the Bible, it is clear there.
You keep referring to the Bible on transfers. The Bible doesn't dictate what the code of conduct, the code of conduct and modes of appointment for our civil service is.
Roland, I'd like to.
These things are expected.
I'd like to come in.
These things are expected because you know the implication. Okay, we are within the public service and we know what is happening.
Tell me what is happening. Okay. We've had in this on the line the PRO for the Ministry of Health, Mr. Robert Kujo. Thanks for joining me. Yes, you wanted to.
Yeah, Roland, I'm a bit concerned with your
line of question.
With a line of questioning.
Why?
I mean, you are the host. Okay, I expect you to be balanced in.
You think I'm biased?
Can I? No, I don't think you are biased, but I think that you are trying to create the impression that the transfer is wrong.
No, I'm asking questions.
Well,
based on questions that are being asked there.
Roland, you are asking questions that seem to create the impression that the transfer is wrong. Okay, the same line of question that you gave to me where I said that this is normal public sector practice. He has said that is normal public sector practice. I believe that if you have reason to believe that is abnormal, then bring that issue and let us address it. But then when you start saying that he's going through a bad patch because he was appointed by the previous administration, it's really unfair on the ministry. And I think that that is not your pedigree. You understand? That is not you. Due process has been followed. If you have reason to believe that the process that was followed was not right, then let us address it. When you start making comments like this government is transferring people left, right, center, it's not really the kind of Roland that I'm used to, or the kind of Roland that
Mr. Anda, now you're putting you're just.
Well, I'm allowed to give you feedback.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and I'm saying that in your line of questioning, be balanced. Okay.
You mean my questioning this morning was not balanced on the subject?
I think your handling on this issue seems to, you seem to be expecting certain answers and you think that you're not getting those answers and so you're pushing in a certain line. Could it be possible that due process has been followed? Could it be possible that his skills and competencies have been determined to be required in another area, okay, for the betterment of Ghana, okay? And when you say that two CEOs are existing, what do you mean two CEOs are existing? The ministry has transferred him, okay? Why are you not able to see that the ministry is following due process? I don't get that. You understand? That's why I'm saying that I think that I have a problem with
my line of question.
With your, either with your understanding of the issue of your line of questioning.
I understand the issue perfectly, Mr. Anda.
Okay.
Okay. And my line of questioning is also based on the fact that supposing, let's say the gentleman who is supposed to be out of that office and heading towards
court.
Okay, whether court or the UDS office where he's been appointed.
Yeah.
Also have some level of opinion for him in the court of public opinion, so to speak. I need to ask some of those questions.
I'm not stopping you from asking, but I'm saying that strike the balance.
Okay.
Okay, because I believe that due process has been followed. Okay, we have said, I did say that, the PRO said that. In fact, the PRO himself said that he's been transferred from another ministry there. Okay, and he's working. He says that there have been various transfers. And I explained to you, and you are very much aware, that in the public sector, transfers are a way of getting people exposed to different ways of doing things. Transfers are a way of getting people to learn different things and to share their knowledge with new teams and new individuals. So it is a norm. Okay, it's a norm. I mean, that said, let's move on.
Well, I wanted to ask one last question.
Please go ahead.
You don't think that due process can be used to do? You use due process to undertake transfers, but also politically motivated. You don't think it's possible?
Do you have reason to believe that this is politically motivated?
I have no reason to believe that.
So if you don't have any reason to believe, then why speculate?
I'm not speculating. I asked a question.
Yeah, but I mean, why bring it up? I mean, the man himself said that.
The man is a PRO for the ministry.
No, not the PRO. The doctor, when he was, the clip that you showed, the doctor said the petition for his removal was actually sent during the time of the previous administration. Okay, it was acted on by the ministry, the current administration of the ministry. Okay, so it's not something that was instigated by the minister or the. I mean, if there has been a breach of due process, then let us bring that evidence and let us discuss it. I hope you get where I'm coming from.
I get where you're coming from.
Yes, because just maybe, I mean, the Dr. Anaba is trying to hold on to something that he's not entitled to. Okay, and again, the PRO said that who should go to UDS? You don't want to go to UDS. Are the people, are the beneficiaries in UDS, are they worse off? Are they less citizens than those that are currently being supervised? I mean, those are the issues that we should look at. He may have certain skills or competencies, or he may have certain deficiencies in his skills and competencies. So he's either going to share or he's going to build on himself or develop himself. And that is how we should look at it. Until such time that we have evidence that this was politically motivated.
Nobody says politically motivated. We're just asking.
As of now, Sydney said it was politically motivated.
Well, Sydney said that.
Well, the PRO has said what the position is. So Sydney's position and the PRO's position, who is better informed as far as this issue is concerned from the ministry? Anyway, let's move on.
So which position should we take? Or we're just doing a
you are just being mischievous this morning.
But in the meantime, apparently the public debt has hit 1.7, and this one we're just discussing for 5-10 minutes, and then we'll go for we end our discussion this morning. Public debt hits 127.1 billion. We keep borrowing apparently. Arrears seem to build now. But the finder seems to have a certain difficulty with that. On page 4 of the paper, it says a summary of economic and financial data for the Bank of Ghana has revealed that apparently our debt stock is increasing, and we've already racked up 4.5 billion Ghana cedis just for this year. It's a concern the finder seem to be raising.
Well, I mean, Roland, I think on issues like this, that again, it would be fair to hear from the ministry and find out exactly what the issue is before you throw it out. I mean, if you take and use a tabloid, and where's the source of this issue? I'm not informed on this. I am aware that our debt to GDP ratio a year ago has declined significantly. Okay, so again, it's not just about quoting a figure. It's about the relativity of that figure, if indeed this is true. So if we have brought down our debt to GDP ratio versus a year ago position by almost 10 percentage points, then those are the issues that we should be talking about.
During the campaign,
yes,
the NPP campaign team said the NDC government was borrowing too much, and we may have brought the stock down. At the end of the day, the finder seems to have a difficulty with racking up a debt of or borrowed additionally 4.5 billion.
Roland,
yes, please.
Again, with these issues, for us to discuss them, I would have wished that your production team would have checked with the Ministry of Finance to find out whether it's true. I'm not in the position to say that this is true or not.
Well, it's true.
I am. What is your source?
The Bank of Ghana.
Where is the document?
The data. The data.
Where is it? Where is it?
It's on their website, sir.
Can you throw it up on the screen?
Okay.
Okay. But that said, the issue about government borrowing, it's clear. What we have said is that there's no point in borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, because the interest that you're going to pay on this amount of money that you're borrowing is money that could have been used for infrastructure projects. You understand? So we are not saying that don't borrow, but what are you borrowing for? Okay? The things that you're going to borrow for, are they going to drive production in the economy? Are they going to drive better management in the economy? Are they going to provide relevant infrastructure? And are those things being delivered with the right value for money? Those are the issues that we're talking about. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. So if on a daily basis we are paying a high interest rate, okay, and the debt stock keeps on increasing, then we don't have the right space to drive this economy. And those were the issues that we are talking about. Now, that said, you yourself have said that it's true that our debt to GDP ratio has come down significantly versus a year ago position. I mean, based on the policies and programs that have been put in place. So it's difficult to make a strong argument or to do a strong analysis by just plugging a figure from a newspaper. I mean, when I don't know what the source is, but I'm just talking about the principle of the issue.
And I do understand you perfectly.
Thank you,
for
sir.
joining me this morning.
You're most welcome, sir. Thanks for the opportunity, sir.
Thank you, too. And George Anda. George Anda is Deputy Minister for Communications, but also the Member of Parliament for Ewutu Senior West. He's been my guest on EM Talk this morning, and I have to wish you a good day.
Thank you. Same to you and same to your viewers.
Thank you.
A good week, actually.
Thank you. Thank you, too.